Oops, sorry guys, I was playing with my camera. How are y'all today? Good to see you. It has been a while, a couple of weeks. And once again, next week I will not be in. So it's that time of year. You all know we're getting ready to launch product and sharing. Yes, the Avenir is exciting, and that's about all I can tell you. The sneak peeks that they're giving you is what you get. That's as much as I can say. It is an exciting machine, though. I think you all will really like it. It's a pretty cool little dude. I get to spend some time with it next week. So good to see everybody. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for chiming in with me today. Um, let everybody know where you're from, and because you never know, somebody may be doing the same thing nearby you, and you can find a good friend here. Um, Not a lot of questions came in. When you have questions, it's good to get them into me beforehand. That way I have a little bit of time to think about them, especially if there's, um, yes, that was about the new machine. The new machine's name is the Avenir, the EV1, and y'all have been getting those little sneak peeks about what it is. But that's all I can say. What you see is what you're getting from me. That's it. So that's all I can say. You'll have to wait till August till the release. So it's good to see everybody though. I had a great time on vacation. It was a much needed relaxation. I can't say enough about being away for a little while. It was a nice not having to think about anything. Oh yeah. So a couple of questions did come in. Oh, Shirley, I hope you're not going to have too bad of a thunderstorm. It might cool you off though. If you're anything like us, we are very, very warm right now. Very, very warm. Yesterday was kind of nice. Today we're back up warming up. Um, and we're getting some of you in Canada are getting ready for Canada Day. If that's not already happened, I don't remember which day. We are getting ready for 4th of July here in the U.S. So it's always fun to do that. The first question that came in, I will answer, and that one was she wanted to create 3 circles, but have them stitched continuously as a quilting fill. So she wanted them to be a single line. Well, one of them has to have a double in order to get, it has to have part of it be a double in order for it to travel to the next circle. So I'm going to show that part first, and that's a PEDESIGN question. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start in PEDESIGN today. And y'all know that I can't tell you anything else besides what you've seen as sneak peeks. That's all I can tell you about what's coming. You're getting as much as I can tell you. So can't really say anything else. Okay, so let's say we want to do those 3 quilting circles. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab my circle tool. I'm going to change the outline to a running stitch, which is the top button, and we'll turn off our fill stitch. So we'll take that and turn it into not sewn. So now we're going to grab and draw us a circle. And I'm going to cheat here, and I'm going to put my cursor over it till I get that little crosshatch cursor there. And then I'll hold down my control key, and you'll see a plus sign underneath it. And we'll just take that and drag it down below. That creates a copy. And I'll do the same thing for the last one. So now I have 3 circles. This would be my quilting. Okay. So now we're going to make those circles. If we look at them right now and watch them sew, they're going to sew. Oh, well, I was on the last circle, so let's get off of everything. And it's going to sew the first circle completely, and then it would trim and jump and sew the second circle, and then it would trim and jump and sew the third circle. And that's not what we want to do. We want it to have one continuous run. So I'm going to select this select tool, and I'm going to select the entry and exit point tool, and we're going to adjust our entry and exit points. So I'm going to take these to where they start. This one starts and stops at the same point. Now you can see that's moved my jump. And now we'll go to section 2, number 2, and we want L1 to start there. But L2, we want to start here. So that's L2 is where it's going to exit. L1 is where it's going to enter. So now let's grab the last one and let's just make L1 up here. And so that it doesn't stitch twice over anything, we can take L2 and put it in the same place. So now if we watch this embroider, let's slow it down so y'all can see what's going to happen. I'll hit the play button and it will start stitching. And it's going to stitch circle number 1. And Sandra, I cannot answer that question for you. So y'all asking me questions I can't answer. You know this, so I'm speeding it up a little bit because that's a little bit too slow. So now it's going to go to the second circle, and you see how there's no jump stitch there. It's going to continuously run, but it has to back over to go down to that third circle. There we go. But that is how you would make one continuously running circle quilting fill. Okay. So that would be what I would tell you. And that's the easiest way to make that work. Now, if you don't have to have them as close together as I do. You could have taken them and made them smaller and done the same thing. Just know that that's what you're going to have to do in order to make those 3 work. You could have 3 different size circles, but that's what you would have to do, is change that entry and exit point. Okay. So let's see here. You're going to shut your eyes when the new one comes out. Oh, no. It's fun to see what they do, regardless of whether you want to buy it or not. It's fun to see the technology that comes out. That's one of my favorite things, is seeing all the technology. And yes, I am a party pooper. It is not worth my contracts with Brother to be able to tell you all the inside scoop. You know, you never know what we can add to a machine. They amaze me every time. They truly do. So you have a 6 needle and 2 single needles. Well, that's good. You got the sewing machine and the overlock. Well, hey, we love you. And Gemma's giving you a hard time. She's saying, just give it a little while. You're going to talk to Tim. I kind of like that. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's always an exciting time around this time of year. So, and Sandra says it's important. Yeah, you have to stay up with the innovations, especially if you are in the industry, and you are in the industry. So, okay. So Charlene wants to know if you know how to make the screen full on an iPad and keep the sound. I would think you would just have to touch the little square at the bottom right hand corner, and it would make it bigger, but I won't swear to that. Which Tim is that? I gotta know. Is that Iowa? All right, let's see here. Let me go over to the next question. So the question that came in was about Simply Applique and removing overlaps. And there is somebody out there that says this can't be done, and it can't be done that easily, but it can be done. Oh, your dealer in the UK. Gotcha. So removing overlaps. You brought in an FCM file and you created an applique. So I'm going to go to my tools, and this is in Simply Applique. It's a little bit easier. It does a little bit more advanced in BES software, but it can be done in Simply Applique. The one thing I'm going to tell you is that it doesn't like a ton of overlaps. So before I actually even convert this to applique, I'm going to zoom in here and work on what I want to fix. So I want to take my leaves. Let's take the flower and the leaves, and I want to get it off of that side of the ear, because I know that I cannot get rid of that overlap. Okay. And that's just from me doing this a couple of times and seeing what will work. That just doesn't work that well. And then I'm going to try to line my little lines up as close as I can on of the leaf underneath the flower. Okay. Then I can select it all, and I can go up to my tools tab, and I convert the whole thing to applique at one time. All right. Now, there's a couple of things I don't like about this one. I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. The way that this stitch right here looks, I don't care for that. And I'm still overlapping that part a little bit. So before I even futz with that, let's go ahead and move these 3 pieces. So I'm going to hold my shift key down and grab those 3 pieces, and I'm going to move, oops, got the wrong button. I'm going to hit my select tool, and I'm going to move those over a little bit so that green is not overlapping my bunny rabbit. Okay. That's just to make sure I can get everything done. No, there are no Simply Applique updates. It is the same base program that it's always been. So I'm going to zoom in again here, and I'm going to select my Tools tab. I'm going to click on this leaf, which would be this guy right here, and I'm going to edit that shape. And I'm simply going to right mouse click and add a point there, and then right mouse click away. And notice that fixed that little issue that it was having with that stitch turning that corner. So if you have some stitches that don't look quite right, you can come in and adjust the shape. So I can add a point right there, and see how that now that shape looks a little bit better. If you have areas that look weird, right mouse click and add a point, and then right mouse click away from it. You can also adjust the shape. I might want to move this one down a little bit, see if I can futz with that and get that looking a little bit better. But in general, it's okay. So let's see what happens if we just simply go and select the leaves and say remove the overlap. If I right mouse click on those and say remove overlap stitches, and I take that down to 0, you're going to see it removed some of them, but it didn't do that. Okay, so and it didn't do the center part. And the reason it didn't do the center part is because there are no stitches in there. So not necessarily what I was looking for it to do. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to show you your trick. We're going to go to our Home tab, and I'm going to select the Add Design key, and I'm going to just find something that's a basic shape. So let's say I grab this button right here, and I left click, and I add in a dragonfly. So now I'm going to come in and take out all of the parts of the dragonfly except for one wing. So I have 2 wings. Let's just go with the one. Let's go with that one right. Actually, that one right there is fine. So let's delete the other one. So here we go. We have a wing. So now I can come in and make my wing bigger because I'm trying to get rid of that line right there. But I also want to get rid of these parts around and underneath those leaves. So we'll go to our Tools tab, and we'll grab our Edit Shape tool. Now what we can do is come in and take and move edit nodes to where it's going to be around that leaf. Now I'll refine this in a minute. I just want to kind of get where I need it to be before I go into refine mode. I want to get it close to what I'm looking for. And if I need to, I can add a point, or I can simply just keep moving. And I'm going to take it over to this other side. These little red and yellow dots I can just get rid of. They're entry and exits, and we're not that interested in those right now. That's a adjustment node. Sorry, I don't know that. Alexa, I'm not talking to you. We'll add a point right there. But I don't want it to get this part right here. So I'm going to take the add a point and tuck it down underneath there. Now I'll right mouse click, and let's see what we've got. So now we've got a big blob in there. Let's go refine it. We're going to come in and zoom into the areas we're trying to work with. Go back to your Tools tab and hit your Edit Shape tool. And then we can come in and manipulate this shape to where we're going to get rid of all of the underlying stitches. I'm going to take that and shorten those little guys right there. I will come and put that right there. I'll add a point right here. Add a point right here because I don't want it to take out any of those stitches. But I do want it to take out these stitches right here. So this is a little bit more of a fussy. Now let's right mouse click and see what we've got there. So let's go to the right side. And that doesn't look too bad, but we may want to add a point here and put it right there. Add one here and put it right here. Let's smooth this guy out and turn that corner. All right, so now I'm going to right mouse click. And we're going to move this up and underneath the flower. Now we'll right mouse click and say remove overlapped stitches. We're going to take that overlap distance to 0 because we don't want it to leave anything underneath there besides the running stitches. And once you right mouse click, oops, I forgot a part up here, but let me hide and show you. So now you can see those stitches that were underneath have been removed. I needed to take a little bit more up there. So I'm going to undo twice. And I'm going to go back into my, select that piece again, go into my edit shape tool, and let's add a point here. Add another point. Take this point and put it right there. And then right mouse click. Now let's right mouse click over in the sequence view window and remove overlap stitches. Take it down to 0 and select OK. So now if I turn off the eyeball in that area, you can see that those stitches are now gone and they won't stitch. So that would be what I would tell you how to do. There is no way to remove running stitches because it doesn't see those as fill areas. What you've done is you've removed the covering stitches from the applique. So your cut file would still be the same. It would still have the same pieces in it. It just, you would not have the overlap. So let's come and look. And let's say we want that nose to be, the covering stitch to be black. And let's say I want the covering stitch of this one to be tan. And I want the covering, those are green, that's fine. And we want the covering stitch of this one, which is color number 3, to be yellow. So now if we look at this in 3D view, where is it here? You can see your covering stitches are there. The other stitches have disappeared, but you want to make sure that you make any adjustments to your shape before you remove the overlaps. Because if you don't, when you go back, if I were to go back in here and adjust the shape of the bunny itself, it would take away my remove overlaps. Once I've done that, I can then delete that fill stitch. So I'm going to unhide it, select it, and delete it, and it's the remove overlap remains. Okay. So that is a good way to do that, and it's a super easy way to do that, but it just takes a little bit of time. There's usually a workaround for everything. Simply Applique does not have a split it point tool. Okay. If I were in BES doing this same thing, I could have right mouse clicked and chose split it point. In Simply Applique, I do not have that choice. So in BES4 or BES Blue, if I were to use the same file and do the same thing, I could have split it point. However, my cut file would not be complete. So let me come and grab my flower pieces here and let's move them over a little bit. And let's convert the whole thing to an applique. Tools, convert to applique. Okay. Interesting. That turned that to a different color. Let's change, let's grab, and let's go ahead and make our color changes before we start on this. Okay. So now I would need to do the same kind of thing here, but as someone asked me that question, is split at point an option? It is in BES. So if I come into grab my bunny and go to my tools and hit my edit shape tool, I can right mouse click and say split line. And then go to the opposite side, right mouse click and split line, and then select that and delete it. But you'll notice there is no shape to cut now. So if I were doing it that way, what I would do before I split my line, I would do my ScanNCut tab and get my ScanNCut pieces done. Then go in and split my line, okay? So you grab the piece that you're looking at, hit your Edit Shape tool, right mouse click and say Split Line on either side. And then you can delete that line. I can do the same thing here. Split my line on each side. And then I can delete that little segment and do the same thing to the last one. Keep in mind that your placement stitch has been split away at that part of your shape. So if that's what if you don't want that to happen, then the remove overlaps trick that I just showed you is your route to go. Okay. All right. So that's how that would work. All right. So one other thing, I've done this on this one before for you guys, but let's say you wanted to give it eyeballs as well. Go in, hit Add Design, and go find something that's got a circle. So let's see here. I've got circles there, but let's see if we can find one just off by itself. Here we go. So I'm going to delete the little flower petals, and we'll bring in our circle, and we can make it smaller. And then we can duplicate it. So Control key and drag it over is your duplicate, or copy paste, either way, doesn't matter. And you have control to change these stitches. So I've got those two selected. Go up to your pattern, and then you can change them to a satin stitch and click apply. So now you've got them going. And so you've got eyeballs for your design. If you have, I'm in blue, I don't have any power packs. So, but I do have line drawing tools. So if I wanted whiskers, I can come in here and draw, right mouse click to complete it. I'm going to just copy and paste that. We'll duplicate it and rotate it a little bit. And then let's go and grab all three of those over here where they say artwork. Those are the lines that we just drew. And we can hold the Control key down and drag them across. And then we can go to our Arrange tab and we can flip those and drag them further across. So now we've got our whiskers on both sides, and we could then grab all of that artwork and convert it to applique at one time. So go to Tools, Convert to Applique. This is just a workaround, guys. For some reason, it didn't like that last one, which is interesting. Well, I must not have grabbed it. There we go. Okay, so now then I would take those, all of them, right mouse click and say Preserve as Stitches, and get rid of everything besides the first piece in each one. Evidently, I didn't preserve that one as stitches. I missed it. Oops. Undo. I got excited. What did I do? There we go. So now there's your whiskers, and you can change those all to the same color and make them black. And I would move them in front of my nose. Okay. So now, let me see what I've got. If an outline is directly on top of a placement line in PEDESIGN, Why would it decide to stitch the outline 3 millimeters away from the placement line? Gemma, I'm not sure what you're asking me. If it's directly on top in the software, it should not change anything when you go to stitch. Are you sure it's not actually showing in the software that way? So let me, for instance, is it, I'm not sure what style you've selected, but here's my applique. Okay. This is my cover. Let's ungroup it first of all so you can see. And we'll hide these. All right. So this one right here is your placement stitch. This one's your tack down. Then it does another tack down. And if we turn this on and we change this stitch from an EV stitch to a running stitch, oh, I turned the eyeball off on that. I want the eyeball on. And we turn our eyeball on there. Why is that not showing? Okay, because it's directly on top. And I changed this one to a running stitch, it would still be directly on top of the, let's see here. Which one have I got? Okay, so it's the center. The covering stitch, that's interesting. So if I change it from a zigzag, which is the default, you'll notice how the zigzag goes to the outside edge, which means its center point is right around here. PEDESIGN always plops it right in the center. So did you create it in the center? I mean, did you create it yourself or did you use the wizard? So that would be my question for you. Automatically, there's going to be, if you use the wizard, there's automatically going to be probably a 1 millimeter. Let's test that theory and see from here to here. About a 0.5 millimeter distance between the two. If you copied and pasted and did it yourself, then it should have been right smack down on top of each other. So if you copied and pasted and it should have been on top of each other, that's something that happened between when you got it here and you got it to the machine, perhaps shrink it, stabilization sometimes makes things move. You may have shifted something in your hoop. I'm not sure what's happening there for you. Okay, guys, I'm trying to think if there's any other questions that came in besides the one that was a little bit more. Okay, so Francis, I'm going to try to answer your question. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, but I think I know what you want. So I'm going to try to give you an idea of how you would do this. I'm not going to try to create a landscape because that is not, I don't have anything on my computer that relates to that. But we're going to go into our block punch tool. And let's say we are doing making grass and we want to blend, or you're trying to let's say we're doing a mountain scene. Okay, that's lovely. And we'll change it to green. We'll make that a dark green. Okay, so depending on what you're doing, it would depend on how I chose to do this. Okay, there are some ways that I would layer it in instead. So instead of making that one, oh, somebody hit my house. Instead of making that one huge section, I might choose to take this and move it up to where I have some blending space. So let's say we want that our top of our mountains are going to be really dark, and the bottom of our mountain, we're going to go light to dark or dark to light. Okay, so I'm just kind of making my shape here and futzing with it. And you can play with your arrows. This is not exact. This is just me futzing around, okay? off the cuff and futzing around and I have nothing to draw upon. So we're just kind of going with it. So let's see here. Then I would come in with my next color. And I'm going to show you the blending technique in a minute. You want to overlap them slightly. All right, so let's change that to a different color. And we'll go with 3 colors here. Keep track of which side's which, because otherwise you'll get a little crisscross. And although there's some fun techniques you can do with a crisscross, it's not what you want for your landscape. And I would probably go back in and fix my nodes to where, select point, to where my lines are, the angles are not so crazy. Because I've got some crazy looking angles there. Okay, so now we're going to assume that's just beautiful. Y'all love my mountains, but we would have a lot of overlap there, and we want it to be a fill stitch. So let's change them all to a fill stitch. All right, so here's how I would blend them in. My first one, I would take and I would go to my sewing attributes. Make sure you do not see expert mode down here. If you see 2 expert mode, you're in beginner mode. You want to be in expert mode. This is beginner mode. This is expert mode. And what I would do is I would create a feathered edge, and I would do the first one to the bottom. So if I hide number 2, you should be able to see how it feathered that in. Okay. Now I'm going to put number 2 up. Number 2, I would feather the top half to where it feathers in to where it's not sticking on, you're not getting it so dense. And then I would come in and I would grab my select point tool and I would futz around with it to get it blending a little bit better there. You can also increase the amount of feather that you get. So if you want a different feather style, if you want more feather, increase the bite. You can also pick a different feather style. So I might like that one better. Just look and see and check and see what you like. And then the last one, you would do it on the top as well. This one's going to show you a little bit more, just simply because it's in a lighter color. And that's, I've given it a big feather. And my second one, I would want to feather on the bottom as well as the top. So you want it, both sides of it feathered. It would be the one that's going to have the most stuff on top of it or between it. So then come in with your edit point tool and adjust to where it's coming together is actually feathered. And then if you want to add any accenting over the top of it, you can always grab your line drawing tool and sketch it in. So you can either, it depends on how good you are with a mouse. So you can either do this trick and just kind of give yourself some shading manually in the direction that your stitches are going. This is more random. Pink would not be my choice. I would choose a running stitch and I would make it the same color and make it maybe a darker green. But that would give you some accenting over the top of that. You could, if you don't want to do that, that's too much work, you can actually copy the piece that you've got here. So you could copy and paste it And then you could reduce your density way, way down. Let's change the color so we can see what we've got. We'll make it black just so you can see. And it actually is doing a running stitch underneath it, which is very interesting. It should not be doing that, but maybe it's because I reduced the density so much. Oh, yeah. Interesting. It should not have that line underneath it. Huh. And I can't change its edge run. That's weird. Normally you don't see that line underneath it, so I'm not sure what happened there. So that will not work. So you're gonna, it would be a manual punch thing. Okay. All right, I'm gonna come back and look and see what we've got. Well, sky, mountains, kind of the same thing. It will, I mean, the same technique would work. You would basically layer it in. So start with what you want. When you're digitizing, you want to start with what would be furthest away, okay? And then you build the layers on top of it. So whatever's in the background gets done first, just like a painting. You do the background first, and then you work your way forward. That way the dimension comes together. But the feathered edges will give you that capability of futzing around and manipulating things. And I am really not sure why we had a line there. That I'm going to have to play with that and see what I got. See if we have it here, just out of curiosity. Wonder if it's because it's the feathered edge. Ah, that may be. Let's take off the feathered edge. Nope. Interesting. Because it should not have that little line running through it. But let's see here. Ah, maybe that's why. Yep, that's it. So my entry and exit, for some reason, moved to the end. So, and now my line is gone. So now we can go back up to the default density on that one. And we should be able to copy and paste that. And let's make it a different color. We'll make it a light green this time. Reduce that density way, way down. And then you can manipulate it. So you can come in and you can grab your edit point tool. You can manipulate it and make it how you want it to go. I don't like that feather, so let's try a different feathered edge. Let's see what that does. Better. It's still got points on it. Let's see what that one does. I personally would manually put them in, but I mean, depends on what you want to do and how much time you've got. Now, if you want to add gradation instead, so if you want your colors to blend instead, you can, let's see here, take off feathered edge. Let me see if I put feathered edge back on. Yeah, you have to, feathered edge has to be off. You can choose pattern and it will give you gradation. So you can then come in and touch pattern. You can choose blend and you can add a second color. You have control over how you want it to blend. So let's say there's my blend and I don't want it to be, let's grab that one and see if we can reduce the density on it a little bit. Or we can simply undo the whole kit and caboodle again. Go back into our pattern and choose blend, and we can change the density here. You can change your blend pattern if you want it evenly blended all over. That is not an option, but you can make it happen by changing the slider bar to 50% on both sides. And saying okay. and then you'll have an even blend. So if I go into stitch mode, you can see that I've got an even blend. So it depends on what you're looking for. Okay. All right. If I were doing Mylar, let me go look. I don't want that anymore. I'm just looking to see what I think would look good. Probably about 0.5 millimeters would be what I would do. I'd try that. I have used motifs instead as well. So if you don't want to do a fill stitch, you could do a piping stitch, or you can do a motif stitch. And there are various motifs that you can work for. So let me see if I can find us one. Let's go to the ones in the software and see what we've got. Where is that? There we go. Program files x86. Brother. PEDESIGN 11 and patterns. So you can do just the line, and then you can adjust it however you want. So I would change my vertical spacing. To where that's about, that would be about what I would go with. Okay. So that's what I would go with. All right, guys, let's see here. Yes, there are other feathered edges, just like, I mean, there's a lot of hidden stuff in the software program that you guys never get to see or that you don't explore. So if you touch every button, at some point you'll find it and figure out what it goes for. All right, so the little workaround for purchase designs. Linda, no, or if you're talking about the Simply Applique thing, I do not think so. Hold on, let me see. Let me bring something in from someplace else. Okay, so this is assuming this is like a P. Oh, I've already taken that one away. So you can tell I've done that bunny a few times. Oh, let's see here. What have I got? Have I taken? I've already taken the overlap off of that one too. All right, well, let's cheat. Let's import an FCM file, and then we'll export it as here, let's do the flamingo. All right, so we'll, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to go to tools and convert to applique. All right, so we're going to act like this is a design that we purchased. So I'm going to file, save as, and we'll just call it test, and we'll call it a PES and save it. Okay. Test 2, test 3. There we go. We'll save it. Okay. So now when I bring that design in, we're not going to save those changes. We'll go to file, open, and we'll go back to test 3. Okay. So let's see if it will let us remove the overlap. I doubt it, but there's always a chance. So if we right mouse click and we say remove overlapped stitches, let's see if it Let's see if it will remove them to begin with. That does not work. Oh, I know how to make it work. Hold on. Let's see if I have that option here. Let's try convert to outlines. So it was test 3. Okay, so I converted it to outlines. So now let's see if we right mouse click and remove overlap stitches, if it will work. Not really. So let's see here. If we come in and we go to zoom in and we add a design, let's just go with that same dragonfly. Now let's zoom back out and move this down here. And go to our Tools tab, Edit Shape. And let's see if it's going to work. And we'll right mouse click away from it. And now let's see here. We want that for this part. So I'm going to take and slide it up to where it's below the actual thing we want to remove. So let's right mouse click and say remove overlap stitches. And voila, what do you know? Now let me turn off the eyeball on that one. It did remove them. Okay. So if you convert it to outline, then yes, remove overlapped. So I did both places, Linda. If you're in BES, it would work the same way, but you have to, when you go to open, either BES Blue or BES4, either one. When you go to open it, let's go to test 3 PES. Make sure convert to outlines is on, and then you can do the remove overlaps trick. Okay. Let's see what happens if I do it this time. Right mouse click, remove overlap stitches. I see it lost half of my nose, but I wonder, there's something else. Let's see here. We can't edit the shape because it's a block. All right, you'd have to do the same thing that we did in Simply Applique. Add a design. That same accent design is here. And I'm just getting rid of everything besides the fill. And then you can take that and let's rotate it a little bit. And same thing that I just did a minute ago. Edit shape. Convert to outlines is your key to making this work. And make sure that you're getting the part out that you want to get out. And not too much. All right, we'll right mouse click and now move this where we want it to go. Right mouse click, remove overlap stitches. And say okay. There you go. So now if I turn that off, you can tell that my stitches have been removed underneath it. We'll turn this to black and we can turn that to flamingo pink. And if I had sit there and worked on a little bit more, those would have been gone as well. So those little lines right there would have been gone as well. What you will notice though is still, if I come and grab my nose parts, let's grab those 3 parts. Oops. And move them out of the way. On this one, it took out the running stitches underneath it. So that's interesting. I didn't know that it would do that, but that's it. That's totally interesting. So anyhow, it's doable. Okay. All right. Okay, guys, are there any other questions for me today that I have missed? The hubs looks at the bank account all the time. Well, mine, I'll have to say, the first one, the second machine I bought, he looked at me and said, if you buy that machine, you must make it pay. He has never said that again. That was early in our marriage. Yeah. Okay, I'm looking to see. Okay, so if you're sending an embroidery file to ScanNCut, the file itself, you would save that to a USB. You can't take from the computer and send it directly to the ScanNCut as a complete PES file. And I need to know what program you're wanting to work in. You can send the FCM file over there from your computer through PEDESIGN. Depending on which, I need to know what software program you have. Help me out, Kim. If you have a Luminaire, you can transfer the ScanNCut. Okay, so, PEDESIGN and STX 125. Okay, you do have PEDESIGN 11, so we can do this. So you can't take, the STX 125 does not read a PES file, okay? That is one of the things it does not do, but it will read an FCM file. So what you can do is you can bring your file into PEDESIGN. Let me go to PEDESIGN. And we will open up, hold on. We'll do that same flamingo if I can find it. All right, so here's my flamingo. We're assuming this is a design you haven't created yourself, that it's coming from someplace else. So if so, the pieces that you want to send to the ScanNCut, actually it doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we are going to grab the design that we've purchased. We're going to go to our Stitches tab, and we are going to say divide by color. Okay. Then you can take the pieces that you want to send to the ScanNCut, hold your control key. Usually it's the first piece in the applique, and hit the select patterns icon. From there, go to your ScanNCut tab and touch export. And take it to where it's the offset spacing, and take off create outermost edge only. Okay. Now you can save that as an FCM file or send it to Canvas Workspace. What I personally would do is send it to Canvas Workspace, because then it's going to ask me, do I want to send it to my ScanNCut machine as well? I have to log into my Canvas Workspace account. Let's see if I remember when I log in. So now it's been sent to Canvas Workspace. Do I also want to send it to my ScanNCut? So whatever ScanNCut I have registered, it's going to send it there, and it's going to be ready for me to retrieve it from the cloud button. Does that answer your question? So if you're bringing something from your NQ1700, you would have to import it into PEDESIGN first, because as I said, the STX 125 does not read a PES file. So you would go to import, and you would import I don't have that machine. I don't think you can do network sewing machine, but you may be able to. You may be able to save to the wireless function. I'm not sure. So you'll have to see if you can import from your network sewing machine or not. I am not positive on your machine because I do not have that one in my house. And my 8200 is not plugged in for me to be able to test it. But if I had something saved in my memory pocket, then, and I send it wirelessly, I should be able to do it. But we're not gonna. Let me get out of there. I may have just locked up my computer. Road is on. But you would import it, if not from network sewing machine. So there's the things on my network sewing machine. But if not from the network sewing machine, then you would choose from folder. You would have saved it to your USB stick, and you can then find that USB stick. So depending on where it is, I don't think I have anything. I don't think I have a USB in my computer. I do not. So I don't have anything I can share with you. But I would choose my USB stick, select OK. There's nothing there, and then double click. OK. So just letting you know, I can't remember if that particular machine will save and send back wirelessly. I can do it on my Luminaire. Anything in my wireless pocket, I can send back over here, but I don't know if I can do that. You should be able to. Hold on. Give me a sec. I don't even have a plug. I hate dead air. I'm sorry. But let's see. All right, let me turn my machine on here. And we'll see. So let me go here. And let me let this guy wake up. Embroidery in your lap. So let me see if I can't save that to anywhere. So let me go home. And let's just bring in something and see, save it. Set, end edit, memory. Wireless pocket. So I just sent it to the wireless pocket. Let me see what machine this one is. $8.96. Okay, so we're going to go network machine. This machine is $8.96. She hasn't gotten a name. So give it just a second. Okay, so let me go to my network machines, $8.96. There's the letter I just saved. Okay, so yes, you can wirelessly transfer back over. You save it into your wireless pocket. Okay. So if you had something on your machine that's an application, that's an applique, you can save it into your wireless pocket and you can retrieve it in PEDESIGN. You just have to add the machine. Okay, yes, Gemma, I'm sure I have done that a couple of times, but I will be happy to do that again. remind me, please remind me. I'm not going to be on next week. I'll be on the week after. Okay. So just please give me a reminder, text, reminder, Facebook message, whatever. And then I'll remember to go over it. Okay. So no show next week. It will be the week after. So if between now and then, think of what you want to know about, and we'll try to get it covered. If there is nothing else, I am going to say goodbye for today. Oh, wait. I will put up a what am I trying to say? Coupon code here if I can find it. It is not active yet. So we'll do 15 off, and let me create it. We'll do, what is this? J4. So we're going to do 15 off J4, and I will put that in. That'll be 15% off any decorative fill. I'll put that in make it active after we get off of here. Okay. So you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm looking forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks, and you all will have, we always come up with some fun stuff. So just let you know. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you again another day. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.